All organisations now undertake projects to some extent or another. For that reason, it should be part of any leader or manager's development programme to understand at least the principles of project management. A project is fundamentally different from normal operation work that an organisation might be involved in. Its unique features are that it always has a start, a finish, a measurable outcome, usually a budget and a timescale associated with it. Work-based tasks that could be run as small projects could be implementing a new IT system, it could be an office move, it could even be the Christmas party. It's something that's different from normal operational activities that happen every day, routinely in the organisation. One of the most important things to think about when approaching a project is to think about what the scope of that project is. In other words, what's definitely going to be part of that project and what isn't going to be part of that project, which is most important, and to make sure that all the stakeholders have agreement over what the scope of the project is. Then to basically move through a series of stages, agreeing what the project is all about, agreeing the way that you're going to approach the project, planning the project properly and spending time doing that, then finally moving into executing the project and then completing the project and learning any lessons that you might learn from the project. One of the other important things is to consider risk. At every stage of the project, risk management is one of the most important factors of running a successful project. Some of the classic mistakes that leaders and managers can make when starting out working on a project is to jump too quickly into working on the project itself and not spend an adequate amount of time defining the project properly, looking at the different options, thinking about risks in the project, and all that important preparatory work before work on the project actually begins. Other classic mistakes are not considering all the stakeholders in the project and thinking about their needs and the communication that you're going to have with those stakeholders through the project life cycle. Also, not thinking in as much detail as required about the resources that are going to be required to execute the project, the budget that's going to be required, and to make sure there's a clear understanding in the organisation of all those factors before the project commences. There are a variety of tools that leaders and managers can use to help them manage work-based tasks as projects. At its most simple level, Microsoft Excel can be used to hold basic details about tasks and activities, durations, the resources being used to perform those tasks, and so on. Microsoft Project provides a bit more sophistication, particularly in terms of the reporting that the leaders and managers can use for their projects. Or at the most sophisticated level, Primavera can be used for very complex and very large projects. The most important things are that the managers and leaders understand the basics of planning and task management, and these tools are mostly of value for reporting purposes. It's worth thinking at the outset about the complexity of your project. If, for example, it's the office Christmas party, that's something that you can run yourself informally as a project manager. It's fairly well understood in terms of the scope of what's required for a project like that. If you're running a much larger and much more complex project, it's then worth thinking about the project organisation that might be around that. There might be a project team, a number of different individuals with different roles within the project. There might be a formal project manager. There may well be a project sponsor, so someone senior in the organisation. And there may even be a project board, which represents a number of different stakeholders getting regular reports, overseeing the project through its duration. Again, it's just all a question of scale. If the project is large and complex, it's worth considering using and adopting a formal project management methodology. There are a number of these methodologies that exist, whether it's Prince2, the Association for Project Management's methodology, the Project Management Institute's methodology, but they all share a common approach in terms of organising your project into a series of stages and providing lots of useful tools and techniques to help you bring the project to a successful conclusion.